Hello and welcome. Thank you for being here today. I know if you're like me, you're busy with work, life, and just everyday activities that keep you busy. And that's what I'd like to talk with you about today. I'd like to share a story about a woman named Kathy. She's a mother, she's a wife, and she's a businesswoman. Now, Kathy's an executive at Third Branch Bank in Chicago. Kathy's had great success at Third Bank in Chicago. She's been able to increase morale, increase the numbers, and just make it an overall better place to work. Now, with that success that Kathy's had at Third Bank, she'd like to take that success and move it down to a small southern town in Texas, where they've had poor numbers, low outcomes, and just overall bad morale at this branch in Texas. Now, this relocation that Kathy's thinking about is now without doubt, concern, or even self-esteem issues. First, Kathy's wondering, is relocating her family a good thing? Her family's already established in Chicago. Her kids have friends. Her husband has a great job. Second, she's worrying about reestablishing goodwill and trustworthiness at a bank branch that's been clinging on to a hierarchy structure that consists of a separation of power and bureaucracy. Lastly, Kathy's concerned that she's not even able to implement the CEO's new flattened out policy of communication due to subordinates' distrust of management. Now, Kathy's been at Third Bank Branch for over 8 years. In order for her to establish source credibility, Kathy needs to show her new subordinates that she's knowledgeable, she's competent, and she's caring. Now, I think the way for Kathy to do this is she needs to share her backstory and let her subordinates know that she started at the bottom, working as a processor, working up to a shift line supervisor, all the way up to a frontline manager, and ultimately to the position she holds today, which is an executive vice president. Now, Kathy's not starting off flat-footed. She does have the support and the trustworthiness of her frontline managers. Over the years, Third Bank Branch has been through several mergers and acquisitions. Now, it's these mergers and these acquisitions that have splintered the organization when it comes to communication and low morale. The employees, they've lost respect for management due to a downward hierarchy structure of communication. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Kathy's had great success in Chicago. And now that success, it was due to a horizontal platform of communication. Now, what was successful about this horizontal communication? It was that Kathy incentivized, and she rewarded her employees for meeting their goals. Now, to address Kathy's self-esteem issues, I think she needs to reflect and think back about all her accomplishments that she's had at the Chicago branch, her 8 years that she's been there, surviving 3 mergers and the acquisitions, the success that she's had in Chicago. She needs to take that mind frame, and I think she needs to transport that thought process down to the Texas branch. If she's able to do that, I think she'll be off to a great start. Now, change. Change is hard no matter what environment you're in. And everybody goes through the same stages of change together. And those stages are knowledge. When change is going to happen, people want to get knowledge about what's happening with the change. Persuasion, whether it's family members or coworkers, persuading you or giving you information about how this change is going to affect you. And then there's the decision process. Are you going to decide to go with the change, or are you going to reject the change altogether? And then there's implementation. How are you going to implement this change into a new structure? And confirmation. Now, some individuals will skip some steps along the way, and that's okay, because everybody goes through change slightly different, but they all go through the process no matter what. Now, I think Kathy, when she gets down to Texas, needs to have a branch-wide meeting where she addresses the concerns of her employees and informs them of her plan to roll out a consultant style of management where regardless of where one's status is within the organization, she's going to have an open door policy. And she's willing to listen to your thoughts and your concerns, whether negative or positive, and she'll take that into consideration when it comes to making a decision with the branch. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Does Kathy do well in Texas?
You know, the jury's still out on that. But like I said earlier, if she can take what she's done at the Chicago branch and implement that at the Texas branch, I think she'll be off to a great start.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, you have a question.
Okay. What kind of the problem does Kathy have with CEO's new plan?
You know, what kind of problems does she have with the CEO's new plan? I think the problem that she's facing is that some of her colleagues that are on the upper level management, they don't really see this plan as something that's going to be beneficial. And they're having a hard time getting on board with this plan. But I think Kathy's got a great head on her shoulders, and that she's already bought into this plan, and she'll do well.
I have a question.
Oh, sure.
Does Kathy agree with open communication?
You know, Kathy does agree with open communication. I think that's evident by what she's done in the Chicago branch, where she was able to flatten out the communication and increase morale and performance. And the way she did that was by having an open communication. Thank you.